At Phantom Works, 3 things matter to us. Cars, country,
This motor rocks.
and cards. We make cars better than the day they rolled out. And for us, this is more than a job. This is our life. Love your car as much as we do, and we're gonna get along fine.
I need it in 2 months.
Mostly. Truth is, if we have to pick between you and your car, we're not picking you. I believe men have 2 passions in life, truly. One is for women, and the other is for a car. When I started Phantom Works, it was just me working in a burned-out garage. I'm former military, was a Green Beret and a test pilot. My intent was to build a shop that ran with a military precision.
Nice.
Using my favorite fine adjustment tool.
I didn't get that,
Oh, that's hot.
but I did build the biggest car restoration shop in America. Everything I own is sunk into Phantom Works. If this company fails, I fail, and I never lose sight of that.
Bobby thinks I'm using
As though you're taking my tools. Okay, if
That's
you
not
take them,
yours.
you're leaving. Mike, get out.
Dan's definitely a hard guy to work for, but in this kind of business, if you want to get ahead, you got to be pretty much a hard ass.
That's a big enough difference that Stevie Wonder could see. That sucks.
It's really just a dysfunctional f***ing family. Like, that's just what it is.
I expect everyone to give everything every day, nothing less. We're not going to do anything unless it's right. We don't work for owners who flip cars, and we don't cut corners.
With all your knowledge, you will not touch this car.
No. Here, every car has a story. We've got this classic 63 Corvette coming into the shop.
Bring it over to the right just a little bit. There you go.
The owner has assured me on the phone it's in absolutely beautiful shape. I've heard this line before. The body seams are coming out. This is an early 63.
Yeah, this door is out of alignment over here pretty bad.
When it comes to a classic car, you can never judge a book by its cover.
Control arm bushings are pretty much rotted out.
Hoses are all rubbed through right here.
The fan is worn out. You can feel the play in it. Let's put it up and check the underside. They only get uglier. Our first step in this case is go bumper to bumper and do a very thorough inspection before we actually start ripping it apart. 1985 tags, bias ply tires. So that means this car has been off the road 27 years. Vehicles are rarely parked unless there's a big problem. If I'm going to do this car, the owner has to be just as committed as I am. Dan Short?
I'm James Summers.
Nice to meet you,
Nice to
James.
meet you, Dan.
Grab a seat. It's a two-way street, and it's time for James to show me that he's ready for this project. Just so we're clear, there is no just slapping some paint on it. It's a lot of work to restore a C2. Every system has to be brought back. Transmission, I gotta go through that. Differential, I gotta go through that. Are you serious about taking this car and kind of pulling it out of a coma after it's been sort of put away that long?
I've been watching the car for about 10 years, so when it came for sale, I was ready to buy it. So I'm very serious. I want to get the car running.
Purist or practical?
I want to be able to drive the car. I don't necessarily intend for it to be a showpiece. Ultimately, my dream's been to have a split window.
Okay.
It comes with a hardtop option, but it's not the split window option.
The most iconic form of that car was the split window coupe. He owns a convertible, so what James is asking for is a split window coupe that's also a convertible at the same time. So nice wheels, some modern upgrades, a pretty red, ballpark of 50-ish K.
Okay.
And we really got to consider this whole top concept because it's never been done. And
What's the odds of having this ready within 2 months? I'm getting married, and I want to have this car for our drive-away car at the wedding. It's really important for me to have the car ready on my wedding day because it's so special to me, and it's such a special event.
you are getting married in 2 months, and you're waiting till today to bring me a car that needs a ground-up restoration on.
But like the thing, you know, for me, I mean, it's been protected in a garage.
Everyone who brings a car in here is convinced that their car is perfect, and they're basically going out with the prom queen. If I'm going to do this car, he has to be given a reality check, and for James, it's now. Good news, bad news, it's all relative. Take a look at your frame members. Some minor surface rust, nothing to be concerned with at all. Here's the bad news. We can't do anything with this car until we drain and flush every single component of the fuel system.
Today's the first day I met Dan, and the way he goes through the car makes me feel like it's a piece of crap.
Find me a piece of rubber on this car that isn't disintegrated.
Right.
And there is none.
It's crazy because it's like every single piece on that car has to be touched or messed with.
We've got a few issues here. Actually, you'll notice that your tire can't even spin. It's actually bound by this, so.
Okay. I thought it would be a month-long process.
You see how beat up the pan is, oil canister?
What else could there be?
Take a look up here at the body lines. You see how you can see some cracking here?
Wow.
What I believe is this car was hit flat in the ass. It took out the rear portion of the quarters, the tail pan, and the upper valance.
Yeah, I didn't realize it had been hit before. As much money as I paid for this car, now to hear how much is wrong with it, I'm shell-shocked right now.
Let me hit you with kind of a blinding flash of the obvious that may not be for you. These shows where you see a car built in a week, total bullshit. You couldn't even find out the parts you needed in a week and get them here.
Right.
So you spend months ordering parts. That's a typical process. I got 65 cars in front of your car, okay? You're not the only car in my shop. The only way it could happen in 8 weeks is I rip this car apart starting today.
Right.
I have the money from you today to order every damn part I need. And then we gotta pray that nothing goes wrong.
Right.
I mean, like, damn near nothing goes wrong.
Yeah. Can you do it?
I'm building this car for James because he needs my help to create the star of his wedding. I don't normally work with deadlines, but in this case, it's a 1963 Corvette. I don't normally turn down the most beautiful car ever made. We're going to do a complete restoration going through every system on his car. We're going to rebuild his original 327 and add an entirely new suspension system, power steering, disc brakes, wheels, and tires. We'll repair the accident damage, restore the fiberglass body, and give it a beautiful new paint job. Then the cherry on top, the world's first split window convertible top. It'll be amazing.
Within the next 2 months, this car needs to be done, and I really want this car done right. I don't know about working on cars, but I'm gonna pay him the money, and I expect him to have this car ready.
Hey, Dan?
Yeah.
Your appointment's here.
Are you Bill? I've got a guy named Bill coming in to discuss a hot rod. I'm interested in what he's got to say because this one doesn't sound like a typical restoration. So, what brings you in today?
Well, I've got a 1931 Ford Model A Coupe that I need to have restored. My father's had it for 40-some years. He's done a lot of work and stuff on it, you know. I've tried to work on it myself, look something up on the internet, see how it's done, and I try and do it. But it just seems that there's some parts of this that are just way over my head, and that's why I'm coming to you.
I'm not crazy about any of the stuff I see written in forums or on these blogs. So it's a little unnerving because that's where Bill is getting all of his information.
Oh, this is some of the pictures of him with the car and that kind of stuff and what he's done to it.
I'm guessing that's...
Yeah, that's my dad
Dad?
welding the top after he had chopped it.
Is this something that's solid? You're real happy with the work? You talking about cleaning stuff up or...
No, because he pretty much would do whatever he had to so it would drive down the road. When he wanted to attach something to the chassis, he would literally drill a hole and use a nut and a bolt. So unfortunately, the chassis kind of looks like Swiss cheese, okay?
I know this is a disaster waiting to happen. Between Bill's father and Bill, who took over as an internet mechanic, this project scares the shit out of me. I'm not confident that I'm the right guy for this job. Maybe you guys are gonna be better off if you two get back together and just look at getting this thing running again if that's the problem. So.
That is the problem. My dad passed away 2 years ago, all right? He lived in Arizona. I never got to know him. And the only thing that I know of him is this car. and he's had it almost as long as I've been alive.
Look, I'm very sorry for the passing of your dad.
This is the only connection I have to my father, and I want this to be a part of my life so that it kind of gives me a sense that he's with me. I started working on it. I tried to restore it, but I can't do it on my own.
I'm not going to make any promises. I'll be honest with you, okay? I'm going to need to see it, but if it's something that we can work on, we absolutely will.
All right.
All right, Bill?
Thanks.
You know, for me, a car is far bigger than a bunch of collections of metal and rubber and parts. And in this case, the car represents even more. How can I say yes to a car that I know is going to bite me in the ass in every way possible, and yet, how do you say no to a man like this? What the hell am I getting myself into?
My dad passed away 2 years ago. I never got to know him, and the only thing that I know of him is this car.
Bill's only connection to his father is this 31 Model A hot rod he inherited. Unfortunately, Bill is an internet mechanic, so I'm going to Bill's house to figure out really what we're dealing with. I'm bringing Kyle along to take a look at this hot rod. He's the lead man in my metal shop, and he might be young, but he absolutely knows his stuff. There's no one better. Unfortunately, he doesn't always consider budget when he's looking at what he can do with a car, so I absolutely have to keep him reined in. Kyle loves a hot rod as much as any human on the earth, so who does? I think we're in the right place. You didn't tell me you took it all apart. There's no accelerator, there's no shift linkage.
The engine was being rebuilt at the time when he passed away, so I rebuilt the top part of the engine.
Rebuilt the top. And it's one thing to repair a system or to modify it a little bit, but it's another thing to try and recreate the entire thing when you have a missing start point. My thoughts are you have to come to grips with what exactly you want this car to be.
Dan's a touch more conservative than I am when it comes to a hot rod. I'm much more chop it, slam it. If there's a part on it I haven't cut up yet, I'm not done. I look at the pieces he's got and what it's going to take to make them fit.
My dad had this thing as a hot rod. That's the way I'd like to keep it. Yeah.
You want to get it back down as low as it was?
I'm going to stop both of you. If you say that, put a price on that. Because I think that's a $10,000 decision. Kyle will always default to we can do this. And of course, he's ready to drop $100,000 into the car.
All right. Keep rolling out, punch the tires to turn it.
Can the car be built? Absolutely. Will it be more difficult as a result of what he did? Absolutely. If it wasn't for the fact that his father passed away and this is his only link to his dad, I'd turn the project down. I wouldn't bother doing this one. We have less than 8 weeks to get this 63 Corvette ready for a wedding. What I really want is 8 months. The deadline is extremely tight, but it's doable if nothing goes wrong. It's the unknown unknowns that kick your ass. The nasty problems that could derail us, and we just got our first one, the engine. Take a look at these cam lobes, if you can even still call that a cam lobe.
Yeah, that's almost completely rounded off.
The first one is bad, the second one is gone, third one is bad. The car's got 62,000 original miles, but probably the last 5,000 of them, the car was running like smashed crap because you probably couldn't get out of your driveway with this camshaft in it. James, this is Dan Short down at the shop. Are you familiar with the term wiped cam lobe? Here's what I'm going to suggest. We go in with a 350, punch 20 or 30 over. God willing and the creek don't rise, it doesn't come up through your hood. As I tell my guys, I'd about kiss someone's ass in Times Square high noon the first time I actually get a car that goes according to the plan. They never do.
When I heard 31 Model A, I was like, oh, if I had kids, I might sell one of my kids for one. But I don't have kids, so I can't do that.
Building muscle cars is great, but I'm a hot rodder. The more drastic I can change it, the happier I am.
When we're done with it, it's going to look even more badass.
The guys in the metal shop absolutely love the idea of building this 31 Highboy. So we're going to do the car, but Bill and I really have to sit down and make sure that we have an agreement on the money. were missing some major systems of the car. And so I wanted to get some sense of requirements and finances and make sure that we were at least in the same kind of ballpark.
Right. I can't do more than $20,000. I just can't.
20K parts and labor. There is no way in 200 hours you can take every system that's been gutted off that car, hand build custom systems, and bring that car to the safety standards that I require.
This is my dad's car, and I want to continue his legacy in that. I'm not sure how much these things are supposed to cost. All I can say is that we take the car as far as we can, and when you get to that limit, it's got to stop, because I can't do anymore.
I'm going to take Bill's restoration on, but with a limited budget, our priorities are to make this car safe. We're going to start with the structure, make sure it's sound, add brakes, and make it as dependable as possible. Unfortunately, it needs an engine, a transmission, and a custom-built radiator. We're going to take this car as far as 20,000 will allow, and no more. I can't afford to pay for it myself, and quite honestly, that's his decision, not mine. The Corvette is in the body shop and they're close to finishing the work on it. A fiberglass body can be a real pain in the ass to work with. It's not nearly as forgiving as sheet metal. Fiberglass warps and twists in the heat and can even crack and shatter if you're not working with it perfectly. To complete the bodywork and make sure our seams are straight and everything fits properly, we need to drop the new engine in the car. We've replaced James's original 327 with a 350. We kept the 327 badging on the valve covers just to retain that original look. Dino and Dan Jr. are installing the engine now.
It looks like we're pretty much lined up here. Back as far as it'll go without lowering it some more.
Okay, you can lower it a little bit. Let it down slow, because it is my head underneath.
Dino is a terrific mechanic, and I don't want my guys to be by the book, but I at least sometimes wish they knew where it was.
I'm just laying down on the job.
None of that. Would it come down on you a little bit?
It's crushing me just a little bit.
Oh, just exhale.
Dan Jr. is my son, and I absolutely love him. However, he's working in my shop. I expect him to act professional and get the job done.
What, hit your finger?
Don't hit my finger.
I only have 10 fingers, and I, would like to keep all 10 of them. Motor mounts are new, they're aftermarket, and when you work on cars this old, nothing's ever 100% perfect. I'm gonna have to make them fit.
You need a flat tip screwdriver?
No, I need a magic wand.
Anytime you're putting a new engine into an old car, you're going to run into a few problems.
Dang it, man.
But if you focus on the problems and knock off the chit-chat, the problems will probably solve themselves.
One way or another, it is going to fit. That's in right there. Almost. A little bit more.
I call my hammer my fine adjustment tool.
Yay. Thank you, come again.
Now that the engine is installed, it's time to start it up and make sure everything is working the way it should.
Hopefully, if when we started, nothing will sound wrong, but if anything does go wrong, we're gonna be in a tight spot. We don't have a lot of time.
Pump it, let me see how the fuels come out. Daniel, cut it off, quick!
Hey, kill the key, kill the key.
It's never a good thing to hear metal grinding the first time you start a car. It's time to find the problem and find it now.
It looks like it's been mangled.
Daniel, cut it off, quick!
We just fired up the Corvette engine for the first time and heard a horrendous noise. We're putting it up on the lift right now to find out what the hell is going on.
Oh, I see what it is. It's hitting the back of the crankshaft.
Yeah, but I don't know why. Maybe are the bolts too big sticking out of it?
No, it looks like it's bent the wrong way.
Pull it out.
This piece is just the dust shield. Keeps dust and dirt from getting in the bell housing. This side was like this side, but it looks like it must have been bent just a little bit and it hit the crankshaft and it just folded it back like that, and that's all the noise we were hearing. Just want to get JP to straighten this out really quick.
No sooner did we get the dust shield straightened out and reinstalled, then we ran into a much more serious problem.
Hey, Danny!
seeing the puddle of oil on the floor, that could never mean anything good. Of course, you know, the engine's supposed to be sealed. It was just freshly rebuilt, so we're gonna have to find out where it's coming from.
I already put this pick through it. I mean, it's...
No, it's not. Watch out.
But angle it down towards the inside of the pan. Bam, right through. Yep. Done. It's the wrong oil pan gasket. Great. It's the wrong gasket.
Turns out the company that built the motor used the wrong oil pan gasket. It was a fairly simple mistake. Anybody could have made it, but, you know, I'm not saying I would have made that mistake.
This is quite a bad delay. This is gonna put us behind schedule. And the biggest thing is, can we get the oil pan gasket today? That's something I honestly don't know.
The hot rod is in the metal shop, and right now Kyle's got a difficult challenge. He's got to bring this car back to life, making it safe, while keeping Bill's father's work alive.
When we get a car like this, it's a clean slate and a blank palette, but it's not, because the guy knows what he wants. Right now, all this is an empty shell. There's not a single wire in it. There's not a steering column. There are no pedals. There's no brakes. We have to make all those systems work and fit together in a space that's a whole lot smaller than it was. And, you know, we got to put 10 pounds of crap in a 3-pound bag. If it were up to me, I'd kind of like to either build a frame or put a new frame under it. But we're still going to make it a cool car.
James wants a split window for his '63 Corvette. He owns a convertible, and he has asked me to build a coupe top for a convertible. No one has ever done that before. We're starting by making a mold from a '63 original split window top. Then what we have to do is build a support structure so that this top can actually be removed and installed on a convertible while maintaining a waterproof seal. I'm actually very excited about taking it on. I'm also terrified as hell about taking it on in this time frame. The company that built the engine has replaced the oil pan gasket. Now it's time to see if this engine runs.
All right.
Are you ready now?
Yeah, we're ready now.
Are you sure?
I think so.
Are you positive?
Let's go for it. Hold it. All right.
Yeah! With our extreme awesome talent, we got the car purring like a kitten. And now we just need to move on with it and get it on the road.
Kyle's been working on the '31 Model A hot rod. Apparently he's come across an issue that he needs to talk to me about.
Trying to hang a rear suspension on this frame, and I'm just looking at the way he built it. This is not sturdy enough to support this body, let alone the rear suspension.
You know, Kyle, you've been busting my ass about this damn frame since the day we got this car, and it feels like right now you're giving me another excuse for wanting to chop the frame.
I'm concerned about this guy going down the road, taking a corner, and the rear of this frame coming apart, him dropping the body into a wheel and locking a wheel up.
All right, Kyle, I'll check the welds.
Go for it.
Not bad. Wow. Holy shit. Kyle's concerns about the integrity of the welds on the Model A frame led us to test the frame. Unfortunately, the results weren't good. Holy shit. Is any of this usable?
No.
So you can't just fix this?
No, I want to come in and rebuild the back 18 inches of the frame. That's the only way that I'm going to be confident in the strength of this portion of the frame.
Just one more in a pile. Rebuilding the frame was not something we were expecting to do. Any more surprises, and we won't be able to finish critical systems with this ridiculously small budget.
If I'm not 100% confident that it's going to stay together and last and not fail going down the road, that it needs to be changed. Right now, I don't have a choice but to kind of make this from scratch.
Phantom Works, this is Audrey. How can I help you? James Summers just called about a '63 Corvette and wants to come in and check the progress.
JP's got it over here now. You got to see the wheels. Everything is brand new up underneath the back here. So you've got 4-wheel power disc brakes. You know, we modified the spring a little bit like we did on the other car. You saw it to give you that little bit lower stance in the back.
Yep. Now, when do you guys plan on painting it?
Probably Tuesday, Wednesday,
Okay.
we should be putting paint on the car.
I can see that there's new parts and looks good, but it looks like it's gonna be tight.
Don't worry about it just yet.
I'll go into panic mode next Friday. I do trust Dan, I trust their shop, but I'm really concerned. I got people coming from all over the country just to see the car. It better be ready on my wedding day.
We've got an extremely tight deadline on this Corvette, and we've got to get it into paint right now.
I don't have any time for second chances on this car, so I'm gonna be double checking everything 2 or 3 times before I start anything. Everything's gotta be surgically clean. The booth has to be completely free of contaminants and dust. Clear coat's really sensitive, and it could cause it to separate and not want to stick to the car. Once you get the first coat on, if there's a mistake, then you gotta let it dry overnight, come in the next day, sand it all back down, and repaint it. If anything goes wrong here in paint, the car's definitely not gonna make it on time.
Right now I'm working up the hot rod. The body itself on this car is in great shape, but it's not perfectly symmetrical, and I'm kind of stuck building to that. It's a lot of fit and bend and hammer and fit and bend and hammer, but we'll make it fit. The floor is pretty much complete, and the firewall is what I'm working on now.
Kyle's doing an amazing job of tying together the needs of the car, using as much of the legacy of Bill and his father's work as he could. I think both of them would be extremely proud of the finished product. Alan really needed to nail the paint on this Corvette, and fortunately he did. Now I've got to get the finishing touches put on the car so I can take it out for the first test drive. Joel, how's this thing going?
Good. We got like 1 or 2 things left on our checklist.
Is it ready to drive?
Yeah.
All right, because we're down to 4 days till we got to deliver the car. The first chance to drive a car, it's the sort of the culmination of all the work that's gone into it. All right, guys, thanks. So you want the test drive to go just like the car looks. It needs to be kind of flawless. Gauges are all good. Even though I don't like driving a brand new engine like you stole it, so to speak, you kind of have to because you know the owner is going to do that. So if it's going to fall flat in its ass, I want to have it do that to me. Steering is off. The car is pulling badly to the left. The more I'm pushing it, the worse it's getting. This test drive absolutely had to go well, and it absolutely didn't. It's not only lacking any return, it's actually pulling to the left. So it wants to pull you into oncoming traffic. Not a good thing. The sinister problem that we could be facing is a bent frame. And that would, of course, be the worst of all scenarios. This just sucks. Like the body is twisted. Like
and
the frame is
shifted.
here.
Exactly.
And the body is turned. This 63 Corvette was supposed to be in great shape. So far, we've had nothing but problems. And now, just days before James's wedding, we've got a bent frame. It always comes down to the wire, doesn't it? This one bit me in the ass. I absolutely wasn't expecting it.
And that looks like that can get done today?
Our frame shop says that they can do a pull and straighten the frame without releasing the fiberglass body. In doing a frame pull, what they have to do is lock down the frame and straighten it back up again, so essentially twist the entire frame. There's risk involved in that because you can crack the fiberglass body when doing a pull. we good?
The car goes straight, the frame is straight.
Let's get it cleaned up, the last of the buffing.
Hey, buddy. Oh,
I know this is your wedding, so.
My day's easy, buddy. It's my wedding day. I'm so excited to see the car. I'm a little worried about the bill. I have not got the final numbers, so that's going to be a little bit of a surprise, but overall, I'm excited.
Let me tell you kind of where we are.
Okay.
Here are the things that weren't originally planned on the car that we ended up doing. Obviously, the first big one was the engine. We discovered cam lobes that are completely wiped out. We went out and got you another engine and put that in. We put you in electronic ignition, a new distributor, and an intake for your car, the split window convertible option. You remember it had been hit in the ass end. That was a trip to the frame shop to get the frame pulled and straightened out. Hideaway headlights, that's a couple $3,000 issue right there.
The list of parts is really getting huge. I don't know if he's ever going to stop.
We actually ended up at 62.8.
I wasn't expecting it to cost anywhere near, what the budget came in. It's more than my freaking wedding. Okay.
James is a little upset with the bill.
Writing this check it's painful, but it better be worth it.
Like a woman who forgets about all the screaming the minute the baby is put in her arms, I need James to look at this car, and I think when he looks at it, he will understand, and I want to sort of put this baby in his arms.
Is this mine?
This is your car.
Holy smokes.
Isn't that beautiful?
You gotta be kidding, man.
What do you think? Is it what you were expecting?
Oh, man, it's a lot more. It is a lot more than what I was thinking. That paint is just popping off that thing. It is unbelievable.
The most beautiful car in the world.
Unreal.
And it's yours.
It really is amazing. You did really, really good. Let's start it up. Woo! Yeah, baby. That's sick right there.
This is so much more engine than came in it.
I'm gonna tell you what, I didn't know that you guys were actually gonna be able to really get it done.
It kicked our ass, I'll tell you.
I just want to, drive away from the wedding with my wife, right by my side, and, just perfect day. Absolutely perfect day.
The fact that we're here and the wedding's going off and people love the car, it's actually all really cool. All the car has to do now is start, not flood out, and not have any problems.
Have you seen the car?
God, it's so beautiful. Look at that red. God, this is so beautiful. Fire it up. See what we got.
Don't get me wrong, his fiancée is a real pretty girl, but I think the Corvette stole the show. I promised Bill this car back in time for the anniversary of his father's birthday. Unfortunately, we're down to the wire and we have a lot still to go. That 5% that kicks you in the ass, which becomes 95% of the work, is what we're fighting with right now. Our brakes aren't finished yet. Our accelerator's not installed. We're down a couple hours before he shows up. So we've got a lot of work to do in the next 2 hours.
That's hot.
Great. What's happening with our accelerator?
See, Steve, kick down cable, throttle cable, gauges, Dale. I gotta open the holes up in the gauge holes.
Why don't we have someone opening up the gauge holes now?
I'm gonna let him install the seat right now.
Okay, good.
That's where he's at, is getting the seat installed.
Sounds like I'm in your way then.
I didn't want to say that. Yes, sir.
It's great to have Dan working on the car with us when we're all stressed out. We're all flipping out. We're running around like a bunch of bees, out of whack. The main guy stressed out with us, getting dirty, getting nasty, to try to get this car done. It makes for a full team.
I feel like Michael Jackson.
With everybody working together, I don't even think about the possibility that we won't make our deadline. I don't see a way we would miss it unless something catastrophic happens to the car itself. I'm not worried about the deadline at all, period.
Something's wrong with this thing, man.
Something's not right. You got red hot coming out here, and this radiator is completely cold.
It's not red hot.
This is hot as
Radiator. Our custom-built radiator is causing us a big problem.
Is it just water in there?
Not even warm, though.
I would hate to have to give the owner bad news that he's not going to be able to have it today, but as things are going right now, I think we've got, at best, maybe a 50-50 shot.
Top of the radiator is nice and hot. The bottom of the radiator is completely cold.
Yeah.
I don't think this radiator is going to work for this engine. It just doesn't seem like there's any circulation going on with this radiator.
Go ahead and shut it down. Something's not right here. Did anybody test this radiator? Just put a hose into it and check it. Okay, well, I think that was a mistake. So the question is it the radiator or is it the circulation because of the hose? Model A radiator is extremely unique in that it fits perfectly into a grill shell and is unlike the shape of about any other radiator and certainly nothing like any modern car. This is a bad time to find this. We have to make this one work because if we keep using it the way it is, it will burn up the engine and cause a lot more damage. Hey, Steve, grab us a clean drain pan and we're gonna see if we're getting any flow through the radiator. Steve. Steve! Is there coolant in that? Yeah. Yeah, it's coming out. I think it's this hose. It's got to be blocked. There was nothing that came out. I should have seen a couple of gallons of fluid run out of this. And I saw a quart and it stopped. So we've got no fluid in here. We needed a custom-built radiator for this stupid car and we don't have it.
I don't think I've ever seen Dan this nervous or stressed out about a vehicle.
Here's what I want you to do. Just grab some water, grab yourself a quart of water.
And see if it comes out?
And I want to see if a quart of water comes out.
Right behind you.
And I want to see how fast it comes out. Just start pouring it in. Keep going, just keep pouring it in.
I'm pouring.
Ain't shit coming out. Where the hell did all the rest of the water go? It didn't come out. Keep going. No, we've got a severely restricted radiator.
Phantom Works, this is Audrey. Hey, Bill. Everything's going great. Bill just called me, he's on his way, and I don't think that car is close to being ready. Not a problem. We'll see you when you get here. I know the weather's really bad, so just be careful. All right, bye.
There ain't no water in that thing. There you go.
Okay, start filling it up with that, only we need to run the motor.
Well, it's taking it now.
We just put 1.5 gallons in it that we never put out of it. Stop. Yep, let's fire it up and see what we got. Stealing warm water comes through the bottom hose already. Oh, yeah. There.
Oh, it's an aircraft.
Yeah, baby. With the radiator problem fixed, the car is ready for delivery. Bill is here to pick up the 31 Model A. All that we've got to do now is get Bill back together with his dad's car. As you know, your budget was very limited, and quite honestly, you could have easily thrown twice that budget at it. The devil's in the details, there's always more, but this is the top level stuff we did. We started by fabricating floors from scratch, building you a firewall, designing a rear suspension mounting system, ended up rebuilding much of the frame due to some structural issues, building you a complete brake system, like A to Z, every piece of it, your radiator, your cooling system, and then of course getting the car running. We of course took care of all the paint work, restored your father's paint, and then finally all the finish work. A seat that actually worked with your car, seat belts, and then enough gauges and wiring to get you on the road. So the project is ready for you to take it over at this point. Are you ready to go look at your car?
Yes, I am.
Go see it.
Thanks.
It's been amazing taking this. It's really a time capsule, right? I mean, this car is 80 years old or approaching 80 years old.
Yeah.
I think without further ado,
How is this going to turn out? What's it going to look like?
what do you think?
It's beautiful.
Well, what do you think?
It's fantastic. How you doing?
Good, man. I'd like to thank you for letting us do this project for you.
My dad would be so happy with this. To see the results of that was incredible. It was fantastic, and I couldn't have imagined it even any better.
The guys were very, very motivated. They knew what this meant to you. It was very important to them to get this right and to basically bring the two of you back together.
Thank you very much. This
Bill,
is
it's been my pleasure.
amazing. All I was doing was looking at it and just picturing my dad sitting in the driver's seat and thinking about just, let's go for a ride, son.
You know, I would love to take it out. The weather's a little nasty. I'm not sure if it's a really good idea.
I don't think there could be bad weather when it comes to driving this car.
You want to go out?
Yes, I do. Oh, that's amazing.
Sounds good, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah. God, this is great. The feeling of driving the car was just pure excitement. My emotions were in a roller coaster. Driving the car gave me that feeling of being on a roller coaster. It was just a fantastic feeling. I was warm inside, no matter what the temperature was, no matter what the weather was like. It'll never be a bad day to drive my dad's car.
We took James's '63 Corvette convertible from an old car that wouldn't even roll to a fast, fun-to-drive classic with a one-of-a-kind removable top. And we did it in record time. We built a strong, safe, reliable hot rod from a collection of Bill's 1931 Model A parts. We made it safe for his grandchildren while preserving the legacy of his father.